to do what we secretly dream.
I've always been big and loved food. When I was born, I weighed 10 pounds, 8 ounces. In one of the few photos of me as a young child, I am covered in cake batter. Even as a young girl, food soothed me. But at school, it caused problems. I was always the last one picked at dodgeball. My nickname was Adele Smell, a horrible rhyme that often disgraced me to tears. I had few friends. Ironically, my best friend's name was Skinny Bones. Can you just see us together? My home life was no better. My father ran our home as he ran the MASH units in Korea with a very firm hand that included angry outbursts. One of my earliest memories is a plate of spaghetti flying across the room as my parents battled it out during dinner. I learned early on to stay quiet and invisible as my father flared up and beat my mother. This is the first time I've ever said that out loud in public. My life was filled with the constant shame of the ugliness of what happened inside the doors of our beautiful home. This may be why I never lost my baby fat and shamefully wet the bed into my early teens. My mother was a great cook, so it was easy to have seconds of her lasagna, tacos, and fried chicken. I often topped off the big meals with Butterfingers and Hershey bars that I secretly hid in my bedroom. I didn't eat these because I was hungry. Just at the moment, it seemed to fill that hole deep inside of me. At age 13, after getting bigger and bigger, I began an extremely frustrating habit of yo-yo dieting. I suffered through the deprivations of the lettuce diet, the grapefruit diet, and Slender, a pre-Slim Fast drink. In high school, at 5 foot 7 inches, I wore a size 16 and weighed 180 pounds. I was terrified of the group showers in gym class, as you can well imagine. Before I left for college, my mother, who was also struggling with her weight, asked our family doctor to put me on a little pill called Black Beauties, essentially speed. I lost 30 pounds, finally ever able to wear my first bikini, only to gain the weight back plus some. Without addressing the underlying emotional issues, I ballooned right back up again. Doug, the man I married, was very controlled in his eating habits. Today, 30 years after our wedding day, he still weighs 185 pounds. I ordered my wedding dress one size too small, hoping to lose enough weight to fit into it. To my disgust and embarrassment, I had to have the seams let out the week before the wedding. During our marriage, I continued more diets, and after losing 50 pounds using the Diet Center plan, I got to a size 10. Doug asked me, when was I going to lose the rest? This broke my heart and led me to immediately gain it all back. I continued to feed my negative feelings, and after the birth of our second son, weighed 230 pounds. Within several years, I topped out at 294, squeezing into a size 28. Not only was I suffering the humiliation of my massive size, but my health was declining. First, it was allergies that led to asthma, then a thyroid condition, depression, and prediabetes. Several different doctors had prescribed 8 serious drugs for the conditions that were only getting worse. In the year 2000, I was rushed to the emergency room with chest pains and numbness in my right arm. After 3 miserable days, the doctors claimed it was an anxiety attack and sent me home with even more medications. I was heading down a dangerous path of obesity and more disease. I had always loved to travel, yet was getting close to needing the seatbelt extender on airplanes, and knew if I got much heavier, I would be forced to pay to sit in the bigger front seats in first class. My asthma was making it harder to breathe, and I was feeling as if my life was literally being sucked out of my control. I was so embarrassed to be in public, but had active sons and wanted to keep up with them. A waking nightmare occurred when I walked by a large mirror and saw a reflection of this massive woman. I would always take a second glance in disbelief that I was really that huge and silently tell myself how stupid and fat I was. My father, a surgeon, died of a heart attack at age 56. He was considered a large man, at 6 feet tall and 240 pounds. My grandparents all died similar young deaths. And I realized if I didn't make a major change in my life soon, I was going to miss the boat on the second half of my life. And I would never have the opportunity to truly live it. I finally realized no one else could help me get healthy. In fact, I had a frightening vision of not being able to get out of bed, with a nurse changing my diapers and giving me sponge baths. This motivated me to eat less, work out a little bit, and be kinder to myself. I had never really exercised and actually enjoyed the short walks and light exercise. I began to understand that my husband would never be able to support me in changing my life. It was up to me. After a rough year of legal nightmares, our divorce finally set me free. As my sons headed off to college, I finally had time to work on my life. I hired a trainer who came to my house at 5:30 a.m. twice a week. For 5 years, I had a life coach. I realized I loved learning. I began studying and attending seminars related to the health industry and transformation. My mantra became, I am radiantly healthy, inside and out. Even when I wasn't, I still believed it, and I became so. After I quit dieting, I released a total of over 145 pounds without drugs or surgery. I must admit that size 8 was really hard to maintain, and today I've gained a bit back, yet I'm very healthy. I was able to get off all of the prescription drugs, and in the past 6 years have not even taken an aspirin. I'm happy to say I now live a very full, active life. I travel the world. I've been able to do things no 300-pound woman could ever conquer, including climbing in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, swimming in the Amazon River in Ecuador, and hiking the largest pyramids on the planet in Bosnia. I would never have been able to experience my most cherished memories before, not only because I would not have been able to hike or travel, but as I continued on my path of gaining weight, I would have been too ashamed to leave the house. My real life began when I released this weight. Looking at old images of my obese body brings back the pain of how badly I missed the boat on life for the first 5 decades. And now, I'm inspired to continue being the happy woman in this new body and live a radiantly healthy, happy life.